You ever feel like life just won't give you a break? Like the moment you catch your breath, another wave hits, messages, deadlines, drama, and your mind just won't stop spinning? Yeah, I've been there too. So were the Stoics, over 2,000 years ago. They faced wars, exile, loss, and still found peace. How? They built mental habits, not just to survive the chaos, but to stay calm within it. In this video, I'll share 5 of those habits. Not ancient trivia, not philosophy class, just clear, powerful mindset shifts you can start using today to feel more grounded, more in control, and more at peace. If that sounds like something you need, take a second to subscribe. This channel is all about helping you build a calmer mind in a noisy world. Let's get into it. For the first one, control the controllable. Let's begin with one of the most grounding truths the Stoics ever taught. You are not in control of everything, and that's okay. You are not in control of what other people think. You are not in control of how the world shifts from day to day. You are not in control of delays, disappointments, or the curveballs life will always throw your way. But you are in control of you, your response, your mindset, your actions. That's where your power is. And that's the first habit, control the controllable. Each day, when the noise gets loud and the stress begins to rise, pause. Ask yourself gently, what do I actually have power over right now? Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Can you control your breathing? Yes. Can you choose how to speak, even when you're frustrated? Yes. Can you decide to give your best effort, even when others don't? Absolutely. That's your circle. That's your space to lead, to grow, and to protect your peace. Everything else, the opinions, the traffic, the uncertainty of the future, that's not yours to carry. The Stoics would say, some things are up to us, and some things are not. The key to mental resilience is knowing the difference and focusing your energy only where it matters. Because the truth is, much of our suffering doesn't come from the events themselves. It comes from wanting them to be different. We want people to act a certain way. We want plans to unfold just right. We want life to obey our expectations. But it won't. And so we struggle, not because of life, but because we're gripping too tightly to what we were never meant to hold. So loosen that grip. Let what's outside of your control move freely. Let the world turn as it does. And anchor yourself in what is yours. Your presence, your purpose, your perspective. This habit might sound simple, but don't mistake it for weakness. It's one of the most courageous shifts you can make, because it takes real strength to stop trying to fix the world and start working on yourself. And the moment you do that, something beautiful happens. Your anxiety lessens. Your stress begins to lift. Your mind clears, not because the world has changed, but because you have. That's the power of focusing on what you can control. That's the first habit, and it just might be the one that changes everything. Now for number 2, daily stillness. We live in a world that never stops moving. Notifications, deadlines, conversations, expectations. From the moment we wake up, something is already calling for our attention. And without even realizing it, we're always reacting. We react to the message that stresses us out. We react to the news we didn't ask to see. We react to someone else's mood, their words, their energy. And slowly, we start to lose connection, not just to our peace, but to ourselves. That's why the Stoics practiced something that seems almost radical today: stillness. They understood that clarity doesn't come from more thinking or more doing. It comes from pausing. Before they made a choice, they paused. Before they spoke, they reflected. Before they judged, they stepped back and made space for silence. Because stillness is not an action. It's wisdom in motion. And so here's the second habit. Create one quiet moment for yourself each day. Just one. Not hours of meditation. Not some perfect morning routine. Just one moment that belongs to you. It could be 5 minutes of deep breathing before the sun rises. It could be a slow walk with no music, no phone, just your feet on the ground. It could be sitting in your car for an extra minute before going inside. It doesn't matter what it looks like. What matters is that it's yours. No one else's agenda. No noise. No need to perform. Just stillness. Because in that moment, something powerful happens. You start to hear yourself again. You notice how tense your shoulders have been. You notice the thoughts you've been avoiding, the feelings you've been carrying. You begin to see what's actually going on inside, before the world tells you what to feel. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, warrior, philosopher. He ruled over millions. And yet, in his personal writings, he kept reminding himself to return to stillness, to carve out silence, to step back and find the truth that only quiet can offer. And if he needed it with all his power, so do we. Because without stillness, we get pulled into everything. We say things we don't mean. We chase things we don't need. We become distant from the person we're actually trying to be. But with stillness, even just a little, we begin to respond instead of react. We start choosing instead of chasing. We slow down, not because we're falling behind, but because we're finally moving with intention. This isn't about escaping the world. It's about remembering who you are before the world tries to define you. So tomorrow morning, or maybe tonight, give yourself that moment. No pressure, no rules, just quiet. And over time, those small moments will add up to something real. A calmer mind, a clearer heart, a stronger you. That's daily stillness. That's the second habit. Number 3, negative visualization. This one might sound strange at first, but stay with me. What if I told you one of the most powerful ways to feel calm is to think about things going wrong? The Stoics had a word for this, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. It's not about being pessimistic. It's not about assuming the worst. It's about building a mind that's prepared, not panicked. Because life doesn't always follow the script. Plans fall through. People disappoint us. We lose things. We get hurt. We face hard moments we never saw coming. And the truth is, most of our stress doesn't come from those moments themselves. It comes from being surprised by them, blindsided. So the Stoics did something different. They imagined challenges before they arrived. They asked themselves, what if I lost this job? What if the person I rely on let me down? What if the opportunity one hoped for doesn't come through? And then they answered calmly, how would I handle it? What could I do? What strength would I need to tap into? It wasn't about worry. It was about training. Just like athletes visualize the race before they run it. Just like pilots run flight simulations before ever taking off. The Stoics ran their minds through life's messiness, so that when the storm came, they didn't collapse. They were ready. So here's the third habit. Take a moment each day to imagine something going off track. Just one small thing. Maybe your meeting gets canceled. Maybe your friend forgets to text back. Maybe your routine gets interrupted. Now ask, what would I do if that happened? Could I adapt? Would I still be okay? And what you'll notice is that your fear begins to shrink, because you're no longer depending on life to go perfectly in order to feel peace. You're not building your calm on the absence of problems. You're building your calm on your ability to face them. This practice gives you perspective. It reminds you that 99% of what stresses us out, we can handle. Not always easily, not always painlessly, but we can. And sometimes, the things we fear losing, we see more clearly after this exercise. We remember how much we value them. We remember not to take them for granted. Negative visualization sharpens our gratitude, and it softens our anxiety, because you've already walked through the hard part in your mind. You've already seen that even if it goes wrong, you're still here, still breathing, still capable of responding with grace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall be met with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty. He didn't say it to dread the day. He said it to disarm it, to meet life with calm. Not because it's easy, but because he's already seen it, felt it, and made peace with it. That's the power of negative visualization. Not fear, not doom, not despair, but confidence, resilience, readiness. So tomorrow, before the day begins, picture something small going off track. Then breathe. Answer, how would I respond? And step into the day knowing that you've already rehearsed your strength. That's the third habit. And the calm it brings? It's real. And it's yours. let's move on to number 4, voluntary discomfort. Let's be honest. Most of us spend our days trying to stay comfortable. We heat our homes when it's cold. We scroll our phones to avoid boredom. We seek convenience in almost everything: food, transportation, even our conversations. But here's the truth the Stoics knew long before us. If you're always chasing comfort, you forget how strong you really are. That's why they did something that might sound strange today. They practiced discomfort on purpose. Not because they were trying to suffer, not because they wanted to prove something, but because they understood a deeper truth. If you can handle a little hardship by choice, you'll be ready when hardship shows up without asking. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men of his time, wrote this: "Set aside a few days each month and dress in rough clothes. Eat the cheapest food. Sleep on the floor. And ask yourself, is this what I feared?" He wasn't being dramatic. He was training his mind. He was saying, let me taste discomfort now, so I'm not afraid of it later. In today's world, it might look different. You don't need to live in a cave or walk barefoot in the snow. But maybe you take a cold shower in the morning. You fast for a day. You sleep without a pillow. You walk instead of driving. You go a full day without your phone. Simple things. Small things. But powerful. Because each time you choose discomfort, you teach your mind something essential. You are not fragile. You don't need everything to go your way in order to be okay. You are stronger than you think. And something else happens, too. You begin to appreciate the little things. That warm bed feels better after you've gone without it. A simple meal tastes richer after fasting. A hot shower becomes a gift, not just a habit. That's gratitude. Not forced. Not fake. But earned through contrast. We've grown up in a world that tells us comfort equals happiness. But what if that's not the full story? What if true happiness comes when you're no longer afraid of discomfort? What if confidence comes when you stop needing life to be easy, and instead, you become the kind of person who can handle it when it's not? The Stoics didn't wait for the world to test them. They tested themselves. And through that, they built resilience, discipline, perspective. So here's the 4th habit. Practice one act of voluntary discomfort each day. Just one. Skip the elevator and take the stairs. Skip the snack and feel hunger for an hour. Wake up early when your bed tells you to stay. Do it gently. Do it mindfully. But do it consistently. And then pay attention. Notice how your self-talk changes. Notice how you feel a little more in control, even when life throws you off. Because now, when discomfort shows up uninvited, you'll recognize it. You've already made peace with it. It's not a threat. It's just part of the path. And the path, it leads to strength, to freedom, to the kind of quiet confidence that no storm can shake. That's what voluntary discomfort gives you. Not pain, but power. That's number 4. And the strength you find in it, that stays with you long after the discomfort is gone. Finally, number 5. Journaling for clarity. At the end of the day, when the noise dies down and the world finally quiets, there's a moment when it's just you and your thoughts. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can scroll until your mind goes numb, or you can face yourself with honesty. That's what Marcus Aurelius did. He was the most powerful man in the world, an emperor. But every night, he sat down and wrote to himself. He didn't write for an audience. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He didn't even plan for anyone to read it. He was trying to think clearly, to stay grounded, to stay human. We now call it meditations. But to him, it was just journaling. A quiet, personal ritual. A place to untangle thoughts, challenge his own ego, and ask the questions that mattered. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What am I holding on to that I need to let go of? What kind of person am I becoming? This is the 5th Stoic habit. Journaling for clarity. Not perfection. Not performance. Just clarity. You don't need fancy tools. You don't need to be a writer. You just need honesty. Maybe you write for 10 minutes. Maybe just 3. Maybe you scribble a few sentences. Or ask yourself one deep question. But here's what happens when you do it consistently. Your mind starts to slow down. The swirling thoughts, the stress, the anger, the confusion, they begin to settle. Because now, Instead of carrying them around in your head, you've placed them somewhere safe. On paper, out of your brain, in front of your eyes. This is where growth begins. When you can see your thoughts, you can start to shape them. When you look at your day with compassion and curiosity, you stop being reactive. You start becoming aware. And awareness is powerful, because now you're not just drifting through your life. You're paying attention. You're watching your patterns. You're spotting your triggers. You're learning from your missteps. And slowly, you begin to change. Not in loud, dramatic ways, but quietly, deeply, intentionally. Your journal becomes more than pages. It becomes a mirror, a compass, a teacher. This is how the Stoics stayed anchored when the world was loud, when life was messy. They returned to themselves through writing. So tonight, when the day winds down, before you close your eyes or reach for your phone, pause, pick up a pen, open a notebook, and ask yourself, what did I learn today? What am I proud of? Where can I grow? Let the page carry your thoughts. Let the ink hold your emotions. Let it all be real, because you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to show up for yourself. That's what Marcus did, night after night, through war, through stress, through responsibility most of us can't imagine. And that's what you can do, too. Not to become perfect, but to become present, clear, centered. Journaling isn't a task. It's a gift. It's how we return to our own mind and take care of it. That's number 5. And when you make it a habit, you'll feel it. The quiet shift inside. The noise fades. The fog lifts. And what's left is you, fully seen, fully heard, fully understood by the one person who matters most, yourself. So let's be honest, chaos isn't going to take a break. The world will keep moving fast. Things will still go wrong. People will still disappoint. Plans will still change. But you don't have to be tossed around by all of it. With these 5 Stoic habits, control the controllable. Make time for daily stillness. Visualize what could go wrong and prepare. Train your body and your mind through voluntary discomfort. And reflect each night with honest journaling. You create something solid inside yourself. A core that stays steady no matter what comes. That's not a theory. That's a practice. So now the question is, which habit are you going to start with? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And if this made you pause, if it helped you breathe a little deeper, or think a little clearer, give it a like. It tells the algorithm this is worth sharing, and it tells me to keep going. Subscribe for more grounded wisdom, the kind that isn't flashy, but lasts. And remember, you can't control the storm, but you can control how you show up in it. The Stoics knew that. And now, so do you.